We're starting immediately. Hey, what's up, guys? It's welcome to the Card Lounge Podcast, episode 69,420. Episode 69,420.
Episode 69,220. I actually, I see what you did. I don't mind if that is not our opening for the thing. I actually think that's really funny. Can we keep that?
Maybe. We'll see how to
keep it.
It'll be a fun blooper. 3, 2, 1, mark. Hey, what's up, everybody? Jake here, and welcome back to the Card Lounge Podcast. I'm Twice Baked Jake, and I'm here with my buddy
Robo. What's up, guys?
So, what's been happening in your life, man? Anything interesting, spicy?
Nothing interesting. I have seen a lot of news on the feed specifically about Logan Paul and him, I guess, trying to sell his PSA 10 Pikachu Illustrator card.
I haven't heard about that one. So that's a new one. Okay, so
here,
tell me about it.
Yeah, all right. Well, so from what I've seen from everyone posting, he made a public video saying, guys, I think it's like I'm trying to sell my Pikachu Illustrator. This, of course, I think is the one that he got the Guinness World Book of Records involved in.
For the most expensive card?
It's the most expensive sold Pokemon card ever. I think he purchased it for $5.6 million, which seems like a lot. But then of course he's going to want to flex and be like, I bought the most expensive Pokemon card ever. And I
nailed it.
It was 5.6 mil?
5.275 million, which
okay, 5.2.
I will say, I did a video on when he purchased that.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, he overpaid.
Yeah, it seems like that's a lot.
He overpaid on that.
And I don't know if someone would give him more than that. Maybe now, because I get, Logan Paul has a name. He did wear it out into his wrestling
thingy
match, but I don't know if that gives it
Wait, so he's trying to sell it?
I think he's trying to sell it. And I guess the controversy that is arising now is that initially when he got the card, there was that company that I guess he was starting up or he was paired with that was, I think, called Liquid Marketplace.
Okay.
And they were really testing out multiple ownership or like digital ownership of a physical asset that's shared amongst all these like collectors. And I think a lot of people in the Pokemon community, I guess maybe more so that are wealthier, bought into it.
So that's a really funny story. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about because Liquid Marketplace reached out to me for a sponsorship deal and wanted to get more news out on Logan Paul's card.
Oh, I think maybe they did that to me too. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I remember this.
So how they work is that there's a semi NFT kind of space.
Right.
So basically how they work is, hey, we have a bunch of really cool collectibles that you will never get to own because they're too expensive.
Right.
But you can own a tiny piece of our collectible through crypto style digital currency kind of.
It was when all that was like popping.
Right. So basically you're not owning a digital asset, you're owning a piece of a physical asset. And I have seen a couple of other marketplaces do stuff like this where you can't own the Mona Lisa, but you can own a small piece of a Van Gogh or something like that. You're right. Of a really expensive art piece. And so they reached out to me for a Logan Paul specific card, the Illustrator Pikachu, because he was selling partial ownership of that Illustrator Pikachu. And they wanted more people to get in on that, so they reached out to me. And I did a video on that, I think 2 or 3 years ago, where I said, hell no, this sounds super sus.
Okay, you just thought it was sus?
There was a lot of things in it that, because I did some digging. The first major issue I saw with it, or the first red flag, is Logan Paul always owns majority share of the card. He owns 51% stake, and he will only ever sell up to 49% stake.
Right.
And a part of the fine print says he can do whatever he wants with the card. It's his card still, even though you own 0.01%, it's still his card, and he can do whatever he wants with it. So I never felt like even if you bought in, you actually own a piece of an Illustrator Pikachu.
Right. I think it's funny that people would think that you would. I mean, I guess you can give him money and say, oh, he has my money, so I own 1% of an Illustrator. But then who cares? What is owning 1% of a Illustrator? And yeah, if you can't like hold it, if you can't touch it, then yeah, you don't really own it.
Yeah. So in my opinion, when I saw their email, when they reached out to me as a content creator, I said, oh, well, one, I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole because I think it's a major scam. But the other thing is, it just didn't make sense to me. Like, I don't think paying $5 million for the Illustrator Rare Pikachu was a good deal. and that's what they were pricing it as. So
Right.
for you to own partial ownership of it, you have to value it at what Logan Paul paid for it.
It's saying what he's valuing it
And
at.
I can't, like, I wouldn't value it at $5 million. I think it's worth $1 to $2 million max.
Okay,
Right.
right.
And that's
So-
a fair assessment, I think.
Okay, and then you're not down to, you don't want to own 10% of it, because then they would ask you for, oh, you have to give us, what would that be, like 50,000, and you're like, no, that's,
Yeah.
I don't even value it as such to own 10% of the card.
So what's the controversy over? I'm confused. Why is he getting, obviously Logan Paul always gets hate, but why is he getting more hate right now?
Well, yeah, I wonder how many people in the Pokemon community really thought to buy into this. It's like, I don't know if you can call it a scam or not when it's so obvious. Like, you're just paying for what you got, but clearly what you got is not, I wouldn't deem worthy of paying for. But, I guess some people are thinking, well, okay, if someone owns 1% of it, if he sells the card for $6 million, then you would think that 1% owner would get a portion of that money. But I guess that's not going to happen because Liquid Marketplace went under, I think, or it doesn't exist anymore as a company. So people that think that they paid for ownership, they got these like tokens on this marketplace or whatever, and it's supposed to represent the ownership into that Pikachu Illustrator. But I mean, if Logan Paul moves it, I think he's just going to keep all the money himself. Like, how is he going to divvy up money amongst all these other people that he doesn't know?
So that's where we talk about like reputation and credibility, right? I don't have the credibility or confidence that I will ever get my money back from Logan if I invested it in his digital Illustrator rare Pikachu. So,
Right.
And I did a video where I told my viewers, I said, hey, I'm not investing in this. They reach out to me. I don't want to be a part of it. And I think you guys should not be a part of it as well. So I made an actual video saying that.
Sure.
All those things. And so I'm surprised that there are, passionate collectors out there that went in on this. And I remember when I did that video, there were people questioning me too, where they said like, oh, it's a good thing that Logan Paul always owns 51% because then we can never have the control of selling it. Like we can never outvote him. He'll always make the best decision. Does that make sense? And I didn't agree with that.
Right, because I guess, if let's say he never has the stipulation like, oh, I always have to own majority share, then someone could just buy a chunk of it. They would have majority share, and then does that mean they have the most votes in deciding what to do with it?
Yeah.
And then at that point, it's like, well, then why don't you just buy the card? Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is kind of funny where I can understand if people are mad that they bought into it. I don't know how many people that realistically is, and I don't think that it affects, like, I would say a majority of the hobby. Because It's not like your everyday average collector would have excess money to buy into such a huge card.
I don't know how many people it impacts. I hope it's not a ton, but I could definitely see some impressionable fans or viewers who would put in $50 or $100. They're not throwing $1,000 or
Right.
$50,000 into his card, but even that I think is like discouraging that that they're willing to be passionate enough and doing that. But right now, like you're talking about digital collectibles, and that's getting really, really hot. It was hot 4 years ago, and it's gotten kind of skeptical. But even now, I can buy a card on eBay, and it's currently inside of the PSA vault. Like let's say I could buy a Van Gogh Pikachu.
Yeah.
I could pick up that card and just keep it in the PSA vault. It never has to ship to my house.
Right.
And that I think is the wild thing, is that now you could just buy a Pokemon card and technically own it, but it never has touched your hand or you've never seen it in person.
Yeah, and if you sell it, it'll just still stay in the vault, but now be under like different ownership.
Correct.
Well, here, so that's a whole nother topic, and it will segue into that.
Sure.
I think for the Logan Paul thing, I mean, if anyone has if they think they have any stake in the Logan Paul Pikachu Illustrator card, leave a comment below how much money you put into that, and if you think you are going to get paid, or if you feel scammed or not. And that way we can look at some of those comments. I would love to talk to someone that like bought into that and kind of hear their reasoning as to why they did, if they thought, I don't know, their shares would like go up, or if they thought that, they could set like what just would be the motivation for that beyond just saying, oh, I'm a partial owner. Like, I guess because even like you're talking about, if someone was just oh, I'll throw $50 at this. And then what are they going to say? Like, oh, I technically own a piece of a Pikachu Illustrator. Because I guess if you put in $1, you're a part of that pool, right? But then that does make it very easy for Logan to just collect all this money from people. And then, yeah, like, but he really does own the card. So if he
Yeah.
sells it, he's going to keep the money. So I guess, right. That's why I'd want to talk to someone. I, from the get-go, would just never think that would really give me ownership of a card, guys. Remember, to really own something, guys, I think a lot of the stuff with digital assets and like what we're going to start talking about, like what Jake brought up, is you can own stuff digitally without touching it. It's not so much the actual physical touching it, but one law of ownership, remember always, is you don't really own something unless it does have the ability to be under threat of being stolen from you or taken away from you. If you feel like that can't happen, then you don't really own it. And I know that's like think about that one. Take it home, chew it, mull that over in your head.
Yeah, that got real deep. On the Logan Paul subject, I would just say I still think it's a scam. And if you think saying you own 0.001% of an Illustrator rare Pikachu is a good pickup line, then good for you. Try it out. I don't think it's going to work. But best of luck to you.
Right. I mean, well, it's not really like you. Yeah. I mean, if you really own something, you've got to be able to have the ability to lose it beyond just saying that. Like, obviously, if someone else can just sell it and then, you're you're not going to see that money because there's nothing tying you to the actual physical asset. Like, it's just it's weird. But Logan Paul's had a couple of those things in his life. I mean, the whole thing with the crypto zoo stuff, I never really viewed that as a scam the way that like CoffeeZilla like really tried to paint it in the YouTube thing. I think he worked with some really like shisty people, and then that, if anything, spoke to it more being this like, I don't know, kind of sham company or idea. But I don't know, but also more so a money grab thing in the sense that if crypto didn't implode and then just all of it like sink, if it was still had the engines and everything, like it was rocket shipping the way that it was in 2020, 2021, if NFTs were still on fire, I think he just would have made that an actual game that would have produced tokens that would have led to something like very innovative. And that's what he was trying to do. And then NFTs just kind of all plummeted. So it kind of just took the wind out of the sail from that. But at the end of the day, I feel like CoffeeZilla was saying, oh, people bought a crypto egg and it didn't turn into anything that didn't make those people like get more money. But that's not what they were buying. You can't buy something on the promise that it's supposed to be valuable later or give you net positive ROI.
Sure.
That's never promised to anyone, even when we buy Pokemon cards.
Okay, so you're getting into the point of dissecting what is a scam. And to me, and I've thought about this, like what counts as a scam? Because sometimes I'll say, hey, I think this is a scam. And I get viewers and commenters who say, oh, I disagree with you. I don't think that was a scam.
Right.
The most common thing that I get controversy on when I say that is mystery boxes. Because I open up a lot of Pokemon card mystery boxes. I'm just a fan of them. So I like to open up mystery boxes. And sometimes people say, well, you open up a mystery box. It's a mystery. You got nothing. That happens sometimes. And I say, no, that's a scam. If I open up a $100 mystery box, there should be some expectation that the value inside of that mystery box is around $100. If I open up a $1,000 mystery box, the value of that mystery box should be around $1,000. If I open up a $1,000 mystery box and I get $50 of value in terms of like the content inside, I would say that's a scam, because you can't just say, well, what you expect, it was a mystery.
Well, no, but if they're all see, then I guess it goes to how the person and who built it, and the malicious, like, I mean, the ratio odds of what you're describing.
A huge thank you to Misprint.com for sponsoring today's episode of the Card Lounge podcast. If you guys haven't checked them out already, please do. Misprint.com is an amazing sponsor and a great service for any Pokemon card collector. Be sure to check them out and let them know that Rob and Jake sent you because they are an awesome service. I've been using Misprint.com as a marketplace to buy and sell my Pokemon cards for a while now, and I absolutely love their service. Misprint.com is a marketplace run by collectors for collectors. They make buying and selling Pokemon cards incredibly easy because I no longer have to take photos of my cards. I no longer have to write a description for my card, post a listing for my card. All of it is so incredibly easy on Misprint.com. They have millions of data points, so when I look at a Pokemon card, I can make a quick decision whether I want to buy or sell it because I can see the population reports on these cards, recent sold listings on the cards, even trend datas on these cards, so I can make a decision whether I want to add it to my collection or not. If I want to buy a copy of this Raging Bolt EX Special Art Rare, I can immediately see that it's been slowly declining in price. I can see recent eBay sold listings of it. I see one sold for PSA 10 for $54 and another one sold recently for $65. So as of right now, it seems like $45 for this Raging Bolt EX Special Illustration Rare is actually a really good deal. And I think I'm actually going to pick it up right now because I do think Terrestrial Festival is out of print and this card might go up in the near future and I want a copy of it inside of my collection. As well, Misprint is currently running their Misprice special where you can check out their website, sign up to Misprint.com today, and they are offering misprices on a bunch of really cool Pokemon cards running constantly. So if you want to pick yourself up a Pokia V-Star PSA 10 for as low as just a misprice of $5, you can sign up to Misprint.com today and check out their Misprice special. Misprint.com is an amazing service, and honestly, Rob and I cannot gush over them enough. So please check them out today. Sign up to Misprint.com because the only way that this service works is if we band together and build this marketplace together. So definitely check it out. I completely endorse them. They are an amazing service and a wonderful tool for any collector, regardless of how new or seasoned you are in the hobby. Check them out today, and thank you again to Misprint.com for sponsoring today's video. I'm going to continue shopping on their website and probably pick up some more additional cards for my collection.
It's not like if you put money into a slot machine or gambling with anything, you're expected to get equal return every single time.
Correct. I'm okay with losing value. It's more about my expectation on the general content, right?
Right.
The content has to meet some expectations, and they have to be, even though it's a mystery, right? I should be able to expect certain things. Like if I throw in $1,000 mystery box, I should expect a certain minimum level of value. It can't just be literally one Pokemon card.
Right, but you shouldn't expect that in the sense that, well, unless it's explicitly stated.
It should be, and I agree with that. A mystery box should explicitly say what it has.
Odds and
which is why I say like, hey, I have done a video on, like, let's say PokeRev's mystery bag.
Okay.
I don't think it's good value, but I think it's fine that it is what it is because it's completely transparent. He says exactly what the ratios are, and I'm confident Rev means them. You have a 1 in 50 shot at a big hit.
There are some bags that are good value from his... Right.
And I'm okay with that.
And as long as there's more... Well, actually, it doesn't even necessarily mean that there's more good value bags than not good value bags.
Right.
I think it's more so just... Like, I wouldn't call a mystery bag a scam, like any mystery bag a scam. I mean, the mystery bags that are scams would be like, if you make 100 bags and you say, oh, one of the bags has a... let's say a base set PSA 10 Charizard.
Sure.
And then the value of whatever, all the bags could be whatever, you know, hopefully they're around what they cost, or they would be under, like slightly under where the average pool of that mixed with this one bag that's going to have a PSA 10 Charizard in it. And that's going to be like a huge chase bag. You know, the kind of distribution of the value would just need to average near around the cost of the bag. But the scam would be is if you said that and you're like, oh, out of all these 100 bags, one of these has a base set Zard, and then you never put it in one of the bags.
Sure.
That's like a true scam.
That's a controversy. But the one thing I'll say about that is the real smart people, they don't say that. They don't say, hey, there's a 1 in 1,000 chance you can pull a base set Charizard. They just
Sure.
put an image of a base set Charizard on the bag without ever stating that's in
Saying-
the bag. That's the scam to me. Is that it gives you the assumption that there's a chance of it in there,
right.
but they never said it.
Well,
They never explicitly said it.
Do you think the MJ holding, that's why I think the weird ones that you can get from like Walmart and Target, like the mystery box ones that are by MJ Holding, I have seen videos. I think I've pulled one myself. I've had viewers show me videos where like, you know, the ones that'll have like a image of a jungle pack on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I do believe one of those in all the Walmarts across America, one probably has a jungle pack.
Sure.
And that's why they can put that image on there. But then most people get those and they're like, these are a scam because you'll spend $50 on that. And then like you'll open it and you'll get like a Scarlet Violet pack, a Vivid Voltage pack, and like 3 random like reverse hollows and like a coin in there. And you're like, that was this box, but that's just because they can make all these really, really bad bags and really only just say, oh, one has a jungle pack in it. And as long as they adhere to that, then they're kind of like safe from it being illegal.
Yeah. So I've actually opened up those and I've actually gotten vintage packs from them.
Yeah, I've gotten a vintage pack too.
I've gotten like platinum. What did you get? Like, I got black and white packs pretty much.
I remember one time opening a Pop Series pack, and that was like
neat.
the old vintage pack. So, but that was like one time, and I'm pretty sure I've opened tons of those for videos where, usually you don't make anywhere close to like the cost of what you paid for the box.
Yeah. So for me, I like a good mystery box.
Yes.
Where there's a chase element, but I don't feel like I got scammed. Like even if I don't get the full value of the mystery box, I had fun opening up the box. And that's the important thing.
Yeah.
So when I open up a box and at the end of it, I feel really bad because it doesn't matter if I rip the pack and I didn't get anything good. But like just I open up a $1,000 box and inside there's just $500 worth of content. Like that's not fun. They just straight up scrape $500 off the top of the box. And I don't think that's fair. So I have my opinion on mystery boxes because I'm very passionate about them. So I would love to one day create an awesome mystery box. That hasn't happened yet, but I would love to design a great, fun one. And lots of content creators do them. Like
we could create like some Robo and Jake packs. I think that'd be fun to build where like the value, it's not so, I mean, it's different strokes for different folks, right? Like some people do like the lottery chase or like the very high variance bags. I also am kind of like you. I'd rather just have like, something maybe a little bit closer to the value. There's a couple bags that are like higher, but not too much higher. But then there's, and then there's bags that are lower, but they're not so low that anyone opening the bag would just be like, oh man, this is crazy.
Like let's say you have one bag with $1 million in it and 99,999 bags with $1 in it. So that the average value is $100 or something.
Right.
$100. But one person's going to be fantastically happy and everyone else is going to be sad. That would not be what I want. I want a bag that the vast majority of people would enjoy opening up and be happy with their content. Right. And that's where you're going at. And it's interesting because different content creators do different things where Rev has a high chase one. And I know like Dandy Phantom also does mystery packs and his fanny packs are all about like really nice value.
So is that what he calls them? Fanny packs?
He calls them fanny packs, which is I think is great marketing. But basically, they're focused on value. Right? He doesn't have crazy chase packs inside of them, but they're just good value for the average consumer. Sure. And you can see the spectrum of how far you want to go inside of different mystery packs. Yeah. And that's what I enjoy is like, what is the perfect mystery pack or mystery product that is not a scam? Yeah. So I get really passionate about this subject.
I've heard a lot of people really happy with like Revs packs that like pull like some of the top tier kind of like the, you had the 1 in 50 chance to get this or the 1 in 100. Like, I think it's cool how he like kind of shows the odds. And then people that get like black and white legendary treasures. I know some people that have like pulled those frequently for, just getting, I don't know, like 3 or 4 packs from him. And whenever I've seen the videos of someone getting like a first edition, I mean, to get a first edition base set pack for only going in on what, like $60, $70, or let's say maybe you had to buy multiple bags. Like even if you spend $300-$400, I mean, how else are you going to get a shot at that pack anyway. Like most people couldn't afford it, and most people in the hobby, I think, wouldn't even know where to begin to sourcing one of those safely. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Here's the interesting topic, all right? And the topic is how gambly is Pokemon card collecting or opening up packs? Because the Pokemon Company has a very fine line on it where they strictly say it is not gambling. We say on our pack, you get yourself 11 Pokemon cards inside of the pack,
Right.
and you always get 11. They never put any odds on them.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
I see what you mean in the sense that it's so funny. Right. So then we'd have to contextualize exactly like, I feel like people that argue both sides of this fence are just never clearly stating what definition of gambling you're going with.
So the basic one is I'm just going to go with what the law says.
Right.
And right now, the Pokemon Company is correct in that they are not gambling because if you buy a pack from them, you always get guaranteed
something.
11 cards. They never
Yep.
promise anything. And because they don't promise anything or any ratios of anything,
Right.
it's never gambling.
That's why I always tell. So whenever I'm streaming, sometimes people come in, they're like, "Oh, this is just gambling, and this is just gambling for children," and it's like, so here, yeah, we'll go over this for all the viewers. That way, guys, you can always refer to this clip because I'm sure this will be clipped. It is technically not gambling, guys. It's technically not gambling because they promise you a certain amount of cards and there's a ratio for good hits. You're never promised good hits, but you will open the pack and you will get Pokemon cards. As long as you get something and there's value to those cards, even if each card is a cent, a cent, a cent, you can never hit zero. True gambling is like when you go to the casino, guys. You can bet $50 on something, and there is a chance that after your bet, you go home with $0. You can end up with nothing. That is technically gambling. When we go past beyond the gambling, that strict definition of it by law, is opening Pokemon card packs gambling? Yes, in the sense that, non-technically speaking, you're teaching kids that you're spending money to buy a thing, and more often than not, the odds are you will not get value for the thing, but it feels really, really fun and good when you open a pack, and you do get something really rare and fun.
Yeah.
That kind of concept is...
I fully agree with that, and I was going to disagree with that because I would prefer the Pokemon Company just go and say, you caught us, it's gambling, we're just going to put the odds on the boxes, and I would just prefer that. The fact that we don't have official pull rates, the fact that they can say whatever they want, I don't like that. I like things to be more transparent because in Japan and in the Chinese market, they have exact pull rates. If you look at the side of the boxes, they have the exact percentage for common rares, rares, super rare, the exact amount percentage that you're likely to pull those cards.
Well, they used to have that writing on base set packs.
Yeah.
Don't they? For like, you're just pulling a holo?
Yeah, but now they don't. Back in the day for holo, it was just 1 in 3. It was exactly 1 in 3 pretty much.
No, exactly. But what's funny is now your holo, so every pack comes with a technical holo, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee rarity. It's just like your base holo, which now we place almost zero value on.
Right.
And then there's like the EXs, and even those are like, they have some value, like $4, $5, $6, $7. But then really like your hits, right, are like the illustration rares, and then your secret rares, your alt arts, or like your gold hyper rare cards. I mean, I think they have some rough kind of estimate as to like, to pull a alt art is like 1 out of every 36 packs, like maybe, because you get 1 in every box, right?
But it's not that's what every single box feels like a different pull rate. We have to look at we have to wait for TCG Player and other people who open up 4,000 booster packs to give us their data,
that sample size,
to understand what the pull rates for certain sets is. When really that should just be clearly stated so that everyone's aware. And that's just, to me, transparency is always better. Extra information is always better. And I would rather the Pokemon Company just say, it's semi-gambling, here are the exact pull rates on the box, and it would feel better for everyone.
What would it be? What would it change in how they produce or manufacture the cards if they just gave you the odds? Because what if it's just more random than that? Like you think that they, like when they're at the factory, right? When they're making Evolving Skies, they're like, okay, we're going to print 1,000 of this common card, 1,000 of this Pikachu, and for every 1,000 of these packs we can make with these regular rares. Oh, and then just in this one pack, slip in a Moonbreon, and then go to the next batch, and then it'll be the Alt Art Glaceon VMAX, and they kind of rotate between all the alt arts.
Yeah.
And I get it's not a person doing this. Like, obviously it's a machine, but do you think they have specific odds already at like the facilities?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They know the exact values and odds that they're putting inside of these boxes, but they're inconsistent. And you and I both know that is that the Pokemon Company is super inconsistent. Their quality control is really bad. They don't have to follow any standards because their quality control can be whatever they want it to be right now because they don't set any standards. So I'm just telling them to set some standards and make sure that they commit to the ratios. So now let's say their ratios is off. Let's say for the next set, they post that you're going to get a 1% chance at a secret rare. And it turns out after opening up enough packs, the actual pull rate is 0.5% chance. Now they're open up to a legal lawsuit. And they are defending themselves by not having that on the box.
Oh, okay. Because even if they had it on the box though, like let's say you said that there was a 1% chance that you could pull, this rarity of card.
Sure.
That doesn't necessarily mean that every one of us could open 100 packs because each pack has that odd. It's not like, you open 100 packs, then you're guaranteed to pull that just because it's 1 in 100. You know what I mean?
And that's a great conversation is what can we have guarantees of? I think it's absolutely fine if you have one secret rare inside of a booster box. I don't think that's going to be that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. Could they do that for every single booster box, just give you one guaranteed secret rare? They probably could. It would cause them consistency problem because they would have to ramp up their quality control, which we always want better quality control. But they're not going to do that because that would just cost them more.
Right. Because if someone makes a mistake and then they like make a booster box and they forget to put the secret rare in, then you have legal right to just go complain and be like, Judge, I got like clearly this box doesn't adhere to their probability, so is a scam. Yeah.
Exactly. And
so they're not going to do that then.
Exactly. If I was them, I wouldn't do that. But as a consumer, I want them to do that. But the thing is, they already do that for other locations. So it's hypocritical because you get a guaranteed secret rare pull inside of Terrestrial Festival. Do you know inside of every single Terrestrial Festival booster box, you get a guaranteed special illustration rare?
You do. Wait,
and that's fine.
Have you ever had problems with a Japanese box? Like, I think I've seen videos where you can open a box and not get stuff, but then also I get that also can blend in with people that probably have been scammed or like get boxes where if they've been tampered with and then you get, they put all like packs in there that are dead. I guess that's the flip side of it is that if you make a box like how a Japanese box you get guaranteed one SR, it's very easy then to take out the SR pack if you hit it and then just know the rest of the rest of the remaining packs are dead, but you could get a God pack, which I guess
I agree. That
helps.
I've had this conversation before is that you can, if you pull one special illustration rare from a Terrestrial Festival booster box, the other packs aren't guaranteed dead.
Correct.
You could still pull another special illustration rare, which I have pulled 2 in a box before.
Oh, yeah, because sometimes you get 2 in a box.
Exactly. So there's always that chance of you pulling more. Yeah. So it's always worth it for you to rip open the whole... Well, I mean, it's not guaranteed, but it's still worth it for you to rip open every pack.
Correct. It doesn't guarantee that a box completely becomes dead,
which
but
is
becomes deader, I guess.
I loved Japanese sets, especially the high class sets.
Yeah, those are so fun.
They're so well designed because, like we were talking about, Terrestrial Festival, if you open up 10 booster packs inside of one box, you get yourself one guaranteed special illustration rare. And people might say, oh, that kills the fun of the set. But Terrestrial Festival is so hot. The boxes keep climbing up because people love ripping them open because one special illustration rare per box isn't that good of odds. It's good enough that you're happy, but it's not good enough for you to be satisfied. For you to pull the Umbreon EX, you still have to rip open 32 plus booster boxes to, pull one copy of it.
There still is a chase. It's funny.
Still hard.
And when we talk about chases, right, that hardness, like if it was too easy, no one would have fun with it. And that's what's kind of interesting when we speak to like the gambly aspect of opening up cards. Like I would say it's, more fun to do that than actually go, quote unquote gamble or like go to a casino, right? Because it's like you still get this like kind of chase feeling and like hit of dopamine when you get like the top, 5 expensive like hits or something, or not even expensive, just most sought after. That can be based on what you feel or what the general like public feels, but just the fact that you get guaranteed one SR, you could get one of the like
Ogre Pawn.
the Ogre Pawns or
Right.
one of the other cards. And I think outside the evolutions, some of those cards, while the community says are less desirable, are also still pretty cool to chase. Like I really like the Alt Art Cerulege.
Yeah.
And I found I've had a harder time. I've pulled less of those just streaming online
Sure.
than I've pulled like Umbreons for people.
Yeah.
So it really is just, I don't know, like I wish there was an American version of the high class packs because I think those are so well designed. And every pack is kind of open, like it's fun to open because you do get some hits in the other packs that don't have the SRs.
Right.
Like there's the Pokeball or Master Ball reverse holo chases.
Which are also guaranteed in certain ratios.
I think maybe like at least 3 of the packs have
A
that.
Pokeball or
and
something
then,
of that
and then you're
nature.
like lucky if you get a Master Ball
Right.
reverse holo.
But I think that's cool is that if you open up Terrestrial Festival, you always get a minimum consolation prize. Like the absolute worst case scenario, you pull yourself 9 random ultra rare and 1 Ogre Pawn special illustration rare. That's the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
The best case scenario is you pull yourself a God Pack and it has an Umbreon EX and all that.
Right. Which is still, and that's still fun to open. And I think about from a player perspective too. For Japanese players, right? Like if they just need EXs or
Sure.
like common cards, but like, EXs, you still have to, in American packs, kind of struggle to pull. Like it's hard to pull all the EXs from Prismatic Evolutions. You don't see them like that often. For a high class set for Japanese players, even if they got all the quote unquote dead packs, that's enough for them to build like 3 decks with or get EXs to, that have some value guaranteed with them,
Right, but basically for Prismatic Evolutions, if you open up 10 booster packs, your worst case scenario is you get yourself 10 holo rares. Just 10 holo rares.
Right.
And your best case scenario is a God Pack, right?
Yeah.
And to me, like that variance is too much for me. I don't like that.
Right.
Like I would prefer Terrestrial Festival where the consolation prize is so much better because I think 10 holo rares is such a bad feeling. I don't want that scenario for anyone to experience. You know what I mean?
So it is a higher, I get what you mean, but it's a higher variance set that English Pokemon has tried, especially with them introducing a full-on God Pack, which, I mean, guys, let us know in the comments below what you feel about English Pokemon now officially having like God Packs, like not like demigod packs, but like a full-on God Pack. And that chase being so extremely high, even with it, I mean, it's clearly raised the price of a modern I mean, this is the most modern Pokemon set right now in English, and packs are almost like $20 a pack. Like it's insane. So and people are still buying it, and it's like it's not like any other set that dropped a year ago. If it was $20 out the gate, or someone tried to sell it for that, they'd be like, "No, I'll give you $4, $5, $6 maybe." It's like we are still very happy with Pokemon. I think most people are upset right now just because they can't even get their hands on Prismatic. But then that's the point. It's like so much of it is being bought up because people love this like insane God Pack chase.
What I'm curious about is how many people who actually open up Prismatic Evolutions and had an enjoyable experience with it, which is basically what I think is if it's less than half, then it failed as a set. Right. And that's
that
what
would be so.
That's the way I see it, is that I don't care about a God Pack. I think it's cool. I think it's absolutely cool that there's a God Pack. But if I didn't have fun opening it up, that really leaves a sour taste in my mouth.
Can
and I
we
think
poll that? How
we
would
can
we poll
absolutely.
that?
I can poll that with my viewers, guys. Expect that poll soon.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see how many people who open up Prismatic Evolutions had a good time versus a bad time.
That would be interesting to see.
Long term, it doesn't matter. Long term, it doesn't matter because everyone knows Evolving Skies is called Evolving Cries because you have a terrible time
Yeah.
opening up the set, but people still
But it's
have
the most
a very fond
love
memory
the
of it.
set. Yeah. Because I mean, anyone that like has opened Evolving Cries and hit one Alt-Art Evolution was like, this was the greatest feeling ever. And like,
Yeah.
I remember that, like for personal rips, like what do I remember from Sword and Shield the most? I mean, opening up Crown Zenith was cool to get the gold Alt-Arts or different Alt-Arts. They seemed very frequent for the ARs, but I still think my most like, like where I was like, oh my gosh, yes, was Sword and Shield, Evolving Skies, opening up an Alt-Art Evolution.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I will say for Crown Zenith, for instance, I would say that's like a 9 or 10 in terms of like a pack opening experience. For me, Prismatic Evolutions is like a 3 or 4 in terms of a pack opening experience. It's just not fun to rip open. There's a ton of reprints, and unless you pull yourself an SIR, I don't find the Master Balls that interesting.
I find those, and
that's completely fine.
You know what? If it didn't have Master Balls and there's no IRs in it, I would be more on your same page. I actually think the texture and the added like color and depth, the detail of the Pokeball reverse hollows and the Master Ball hollows out of Prismatic Evolutions look so good. Like the Feraligatr is one of my favorite cards because how it looks with the texture in both the Pokeball and the Master Ball hollow, I can still remember like the Feraligatr. Like it's just, that card is amazing out of Prismatic.
And you guys can say like, oh, really, Jake? You're just being a hater. And I agree with you. I think in 5 years, Prismatic Evolutions will be an S tier set in terms of collectability and desirability. I see that. Is that Prismatic Evolutions 5 years from now, it's going to be a hot set to collect for years to come.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be hard to compete with no matter what future ideas they come out with.
Sure.
It's still going to be a hot set. But for me right now, I just don't enjoy opening up Prismatic Evolutions, which is why I actually haven't opened up Prismatic Evolutions in like 6 weeks. Not that I've been able to get many packs, but I just don't have fun opening up. I've ripped open up probably like 500 Crown Zenith packs on my channel.
Yeah, I know. It is tough to like open up. I have found you can't just open up 1 or 2. You got to open up at least 3 or 4 to get at least a hit from the
When
set.
you say
It just
3 or
seems
4,
like-
do you mean like 3 or 4 ETBs?
Oh no, like packs. Like within 4 packs, I don't know. It's what I found. You'll hit like a Pokeball hollow or a or better.
It's very interesting because if I open up 4 packs and I pull a Pokeball hollow,
yeah.
I wouldn't be excited. But if I pulled Crown Zenith Baby Galarian Gallery card, which is also worth $2, which is equivalent to a Pokeball,
Right.
I would enjoy that better. And it's purely an art thing or
An
a
art
preference
you,
thing.
You clearly you like alt art or like a full art card then.
Right,
Like a
right.
Pokemon card that's full. Yeah, I mean, you know what's so funny? Speaking of the 4-pack, dude, Kelly, the homie Kelly, when we were in LA Collecticon,
Okay.
he got some Prismatic off of some packs that I got at the show. And in 4 packs, he pulled the Alt Art Glaceon. And it was just insane to watch him do that live because we saw like the color at the bottom. And I wish we would have filmed it, but I guess who would have thought that in 4 packs he'd pull an Alt Art Evolution? But he did it, and then that was a pretty sick moment.
Yeah. So I get it that like the highs of Prismatic Evolutions are higher and the lows are lower.
Yeah.
But to me, the lows are so low that I don't find it worth it. To me, I'd rather have less lows than highs.
Yeah,
and it just
that's
depends
what-
on it's different people, different strokes.
Yeah, different strokes for different folks. Like guys, let us know in the comments if you are really happy opening up Prismatic Evolutions or if you think it sucks because of the high variance. Like, and I think to truly make it fair for Pokemon to decide, it's also like what sells better. We'd have to, but then I feel like there has to be more of it out there. Like, I just don't think they printed enough to meet demand at all. And I think if there was more of it out there and it was easier for just people to open, well, the price of it would be lower.
Yeah.
And then that would affect how you feel about it, because when the buy-in is so much higher than every other modern set before, it does kind of influence how you feel about it. Because, if you spend $30 to open up a small amount, like 2 packs, it's different than spending $30 to open up 6 or 7 packs, regardless of if you hit nothing in either scenario.
Yeah, I think the Pokemon company will say they don't care that much about the general, like the collector's market. But they definitely put some thought into it.
Yes.
Even if they say they don't,
they
do. Absolutely think about like the set
100%.
design, the special illustration rare, the pull rates. They're definitely methodically putting everything in place in a certain way to make sure that these sets are successful, because they've had bad sets before. And they're like, okay, we're for sure not doing that again. You know what I mean? They've learned their lessons from what is a bad set. For example...
what?
Okay, for example, with a bad set, Steam Siege is a bad set. Do you know why Steam Siege is a bad set, though?
Okay, wait. You have like a definitive answer for that?
Right, absolutely, because I've had years to dissect Steam Siege.
So I wasn't actively collecting when Steam Siege dropped. Were you?
I was.
Okay.
And there was a Steam Siege pack in pretty much like every single product that you open or buy for
the
5
next
years.
5 years. Yeah. I do. Right. Okay. Because what's funny is when I did get back into the hobby, I do remember opening up like
random collection EX boxes, and it had like one Steam Siege pack.
And that was right after XY. So like even in Sun and Moon, they had so much leftover Steam Siege that you could find it and stuff.
So why do you think Steam Siege is bad?
You
had to guess.
You know what's so funny? I know it's a set that everyone makes fun of from XY.
What's the big chase card?
My fair share of it. I think the big chase from it is a Volcanion.
Okay.
Or no, Magirna or something.
Not bad. Not bad. You're close.
Right?
The biggest chase card inside of Steam Siege is Gardevoir, which makes sense.
It's that. Wait. Oh, the alt art Gardevoir, right?
But I'm going to tell you right now, Gardevoir's not bad, but Gardevoir can't carry a set. They need a Mew, a Charizard, something bigger.
Okay.
And so now they're very deliberate about how they design sets in a certain way, that there's always some mascot card to really carry.
Pokemon.
So if you think about it like Silver Tempest, you got Lugia.
Right.
If you think about Brilliant Lost Origin, you got yourself Giratina. If you look at Brilliant Stars, you got Charizard. All of these sets have, if you think about Twilight Masquerade, you got Greninja. Like all of these sets have a big mascot that's helping uplift it in some way. And Steam Siege has nothing.
Is that, well, wait, okay, but when they made Steam Siege, did they not just think, oh, Gardevoir is a very popular Pokemon and it will carry, and even though there weren't like illustration rares yet, it just seems like there was nothing really designed in Steam Siege that garnered enough collectors' interest to be like, oh, I could open up whatever amount of packs from Steam Siege and I'll never really be happy because none of the cards in there are that interesting.
Yeah, you don't even want to open up one pack, let alone 100, because you just don't care about any of the hits, really. The best hit was like a $10 Gardevoir. The Gardevoir was your best hit, and even back in the day, it was a $10 card.
It was super cheap. Well,
exactly.
I guess that's so funny to me because, what about all the Gardevoir fans? Like, to someone out there, isn't Steam Siege like their favorite set to open up?
No, because there's better Gardevoir sets. Because even if you look at Paldean Fates, I would say the shiny special illustration rare Gardevoir inside of that set is a better Gardevoir. And there's other like tag team Gardevoir cards and Generations Gardevoir. There's better Mega Gardevoir cards. So even for Steam Siege, it's not even the best Gardevoir card.
But better by what degree? Like better artistically or better?
All of it, really. Like if I would have to like even like top 5 Gardevoir cards, the Steam Siege one isn't even on the top 5 or top 10 maybe.
Is that based on like worth, like value?
No, just from like the art or like in terms of like desirability of like a good Gardevoir card. Because like I would say like the Gardevoir SIR from Paldean Fates, the one from Generations, the Mega Gardevoir EX, like all these other ones are just the team up one where it's an alt art with Sylveon. Like there's so many better Gardevoir chase cards. It's not even on the list. Okay, so Steam Siege is an example of a poor set.
Okay, yeah, that's
another one.
That's where
I'm gonna give you a second one.
Wait, okay, and then I'll try to guess why it was bad.
Crimson Invasion. Why is Crimson Invasion a bad set?
Gosh.
Sun and Moon Crimson Invasion almost bankrupt a couple of card shops. In fact, I think it did bankrupt some card shops.
I know what you mean by that, and that's so funny. I know it stayed dead for a while.
I remember Crimson Invasion booster boxes went for as low as like $50 at card shows.
Are you serious?
A booster box, and no one would touch them.
And if you had some now, you know what? When I first was getting back into the hobby, when I remember trying to be like, oh wait, isn't older stuff more expensive? Let me see if I can find some deals on older stuff. Crimson Invasion booster boxes were the things that were
Whereas
like
still like
attainable
$100
still.
a booster
Yeah.
box. Yeah.
That and Guardians Rising, I think.
Guardians Rising is not great. I would say it's better, but it's not still a great set. But why do you think Crimson Invasion is bad? Do you remember anything from it?
Maybe that's why it's bad. I honestly don't. I don't even know what the hits were in it. So I guess that's the marker of a bad set. Like, I can't recall a card. I've opened more Crimson Invasion than I have, let's say, XY base or Generations. But I care more about hits in those sets as I've seen the cards online or whatever, and I remember them. Right. I can't remember even. Isn't there Gyarados in them?
Yes, I do think there's a Gyarados in it, and it's actually one of the most popular hits. It's not the biggest hit. It wasn't meant to be. It wasn't even on the pack art, I think.
Really?
The reason why Crimson Invasion was bad, and you're absolutely correct, there's nothing memorable about it.
Right.
So one of the markers of a great set is how memorable and iconic it is, right?
Right.
Evolving Skies is so iconic. It's ingrained in our memory.
Yeah.
I know almost every card inside of this set, even without really thinking about it, just because of how ingrained in it.
Right. Well, you're
exactly.
like, it's about evolutions and then Evolving Skies. It's got the Dragonite, the Rayquaza,
and a bad set is
VMAX.
Forgettable for obvious reason. Crimson Invasion was an Ultra Beast centric set.
That's so bad, right? And Ultra Beasts were such a. We don't even really get them in as Pokemon cards anymore. It's like
correct,
Pokemon doesn't
because
even try to. Pokemon
them. Pretty much has forgotten about the Ultra Beasts because they were. It's almost like a mistake. Like it's like a bad stain on their reputation. Yeah. So they don't really do much with the Ultra Beasts anymore because they didn't hit. They weren't.
The idea wasn't.
They weren't popular.
It's like what they were like Pokemon from like a different dimension or something.
Correct. And
so,
I thought
that's
about
already
this.
what Pokemon are. They're like, oh, here's these weird looking creatures, and I'm like, that's what Pokemon are. Don't try to make weird looking creatures join in from a weirder looking creatures universe.
And I thought about that is that the Ultra Beasts weren't good Pokemon designs in that they're not even Pokemon. They almost fit inside of a different universe, and they are, and that's by design. And that's why they feel off. Is that all the Ultra Beast designs? They don't feel like Pokemon designs. They feel like they're coming from a different game.
Yeah.
Like you can see yourself with a Bulbasaur plushie, but you're never gonna have yourself a Kartana plushie or Guzzlord plushie, which I'm sure they might make some.
They have those,
but I'm sure like those aren't like the popular ones for obvious reasons because they don't feel like Pokemon or they don't look like Pokemon. They're so out there and confusing in terms of their design.
Guzzlord is probably the best one. I thought you were going to say like Pheromosa or something.
No, you know what my favorite of the Ultra Beast is?
Guzzlord sucks.
I love Buzzwole.
Buzzwole,
because it's a super buff mosquito. It's
buff
hilarious.
mosquito.
It's just a funny design.
I'll take Guzzlord over. I'll take the Lord of Guzz over.
Do you know
Buzzwole.
how big Buzzwole is? I think Buzzwole is actually like super tiny. It's either Buzzwole is actually like a super,
really?
like he's actually the size of a mosquito, or he's gigantic. I can't remember if he's one of the two.
No, he's gigantic because they have.
He's a giant mosquito.
There's a tag team of him and.
I remember like maybe I'm thinking of like the electric spider. There's a tiny Joltik.
Yeah.
Joltik is actually like a tiny little spider, like literally it's tiny size.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I remember I love Buzzwole.
Those sit on Yampers, and Yampers are small.
What? I'm gonna collect all the Buzzwole cards. You guys heard it here first. I think Buzzwole's cool. I'll
collect
all
5 of them that exist?
I think there's a shiny Buzzwole GX inside of Hidden Fates. I think there's a shiny Buzzwole.
Maybe.
I know there's some shiny Ultra Beast inside of that set.
Yeah. What would you say is the crappiest or most forgettable set from Sword and Shield?
See, once you get into Sword and Shield, they get better because they learn their lesson. Mm-hmm. The worst Sword and Shield set is probably Rebel Clash. It's close to that.
Oh, right.
And the reason why Rebel Clash is bad is because, and if you guys love Rebel Clash, more power to you. Mm-hmm. The reason I think Rebel Clash is bad is because it's forgettable. What's the big chase card from Rebel Clash?
Do you know?
It used to be the full art Marnie. It might be the full art Giovanni now. But like
that's in there.
But you see what I mean?
The rainbow starters are in there. I know that.
But isn't it funny that the top chase card was a full art trainer? That's when you think a set is interesting, when the top chase isn't a Pokemon.
Yeah, when it's
that does occur every now and again.
Dude, I remember when people said it was Battle Styles, but now everyone's tune is flipped because Battle Styles was the first set to introduce alt art cards.
I disagree with that because I think the first set to have an older alt art card, true one, Team Up. Team Up had alt art cards.
Team Up had correct, but they didn't even call them alt arts yet. They weren't even designated as secret rares because they were included in the set, but they were technically alt arts. Yeah.
Like I wouldn't even call I wouldn't even call Brilliant Stars the first Trainer Gallery set because I would say we had Trainer Galleries inside of Cosmic Eclipse.
Which and I love those ones. The Piplup with Dawn, is that her name?
That card is like $50 right now.
I know. Well, that card's goated. And then there's also the like little Magnemite with Lieutenant Surge.
When Cosmic Eclipse came out,
yeah,
I remember I used to sell those Piplup cards on TCG Player.
For how much?
For $2.
Dude, if you could go
for
back
$2.
Oh my gosh. If you just realized, wow, full art cards and it's a Pokemon with their trainer, if back then you hoarded the art, like let's say those are the art rares, and we see what people are doing with art rares in today's society, that's probably the biggest, because Cosmic Eclipse isn't that old. Like what, like 5-6 years old?
I still have a sealed box of Cosmic.
So do I. It's so that would have been the set to be like, oh, just every time you get it or every time you go to a show, just stock up, just buy all those. And if you hoarded all those till right now, you could probably retire off of that. Like, well, it's that powerful.
I agree with that. Unfortunately, I am not a hoarder. By what people might think, I am not.
Good job.
Well, the reason I sold that card for $2, right? The reason I did that was during that period of time, I didn't have a ton of money. I had enough money to literally buy one booster box, open it up on camera, and if I pull something, if I really like it, I'll keep it. But if it's not something that fits inside of my collection, I have to sell it to recoup the cost of that booster box to make my next video.
Right.
So I was that dirt poor, guys.
Yeah.
So that's why you sold cards before.
Right. You can't hold on to everything because if you're just sinking money into that and then, something comes out of nowhere where you have to pay for something and you're like, all right, this card has gone up in value. You're fine parting with it in your collection unless you really want to keep it.
If you had asked me 5 years ago, where do I think the prices on these booster boxes would be today? Like if you asked Jake from 5 years ago, hey Jake, from 5 years ago, how expensive do you think a Team Up booster box will be in 2025? I would have said, I don't know, maybe $400.
You're right. You wouldn't have even thought booster boxes
could reach thousands.
Would be over thousands.
Right.
Is Team Up over 2,000?
It is.
What's it at?
I can look it up right now. Do you know why Team Up is so expensive? This is a fun topic. Do you know why Team Up is so expensive? Not just because it's a good set.
I know why.
Okay.
Team Up is so expensive because it has the alt art Latios and Latias in it.
Incorrect.
What?
You're close.
Doesn't it have that in there?
It is, but that's not the reason I think of.
What? Then yeah, that's the reason. Well, there's a huge mega chase.
I got it. A Team Up booster box is currently going for $3,200.
Jeez.
Okay.
Oh, I should have got one of those when they were like 1,000 when I got. I thought about this when I got back into the hobby. I was like, should I just go back and get one of every Sun and Moon box? And I thought, oh, I'm collecting cards and I'm collecting. That should have been the first thing I got.
If you had asked the Jake from 5 years ago, if you had asked the Jake from 5 years ago and said, hey, Jake, should I pick up a Team Up booster box? I would have said, oh, if you have 0 inside of your collection, you can pick one up, even though it's kind of expensive at $200 or $300.
Yeah.
But the thing I would have said is it's probably going to get reprinted. The thing that happened to Team Up was that they had an initial wave of it. They rolled out a bunch of Team Up booster boxes. Yeah. And they never did a restock, ever.
Okay, I see what you mean by the Latios Right. The main reason it's so expensive is that set was short printed.
It is incredibly short printed compared to everything else. Because I remember other sets that came out of the same group. What's the Charizard set? I'm forgetting the name of it.
Unbroken Bonds.
Unbroken Bonds had like 3 or 4 restocks. It was a very competitively viable set, so they needed more of it for the TCG.
Right.
But they did restock Unbroken Bonds consistently, and I at the time said, oh, they're going to restock Team Up eventually. I would not risk picking one up at 300 because if they did a restock, it would go back down to 100.
Right. Okay, wait. So then why did they never reprint Team Up?
I have no idea.
You have no idea.
This is
someone from the Pokemon Company. Reach out to us. Leave a comment down below, and let us know why Team Up was never reprinted.
Yeah, because basically Team Up had one wave, and it never had a second wave. And so that's why it's shocking that it's so expensive, because everyone expected a second wave that never came. I expected a second wave because I had a couple of team up booster boxes and I think they reached like $600, and I sold some because I said, oh, well, I absolutely believe there has to be a second wave at some point.
Get it
This
later.
is the peak. And that second wave never happened.
So has Team Up never really dropped then? It just kind of has always gone steadily up.
It's never gone down.
Yeah, and as more people open up boxes, dang, so then should I just go? I feel like it's just too late now for me to like
Sure, and that's fine.
grab a box. Do you have a sealed box of that?
I do.
Oh,
Just
my
one though.
gosh.
I'm not I didn't like hoard cases of anything.
Yeah.
I don't have a case of anything.
I think it would be cool to have one in the collection, but then there's so much other money I'm spending on whatever else. I do know you can still find, I mean, I'm pretty sure even at LA Collecticon, I saw people like getting Team Up packs, but it's like at like $120 a pack or something
Team Up
like
packs
that.
were also extremely scarce. You can't find Team Up packs inside of any product, really.
Wait,
It was hard to find in products.
Are the Team Up blisters the one where there's that like Pikachu promo where he's kind of mirrored, and then there's also a Mimikyu one where it's
I know
like
what you're
Cosmo
talking about,
Holoform?
yeah.
Those are Team Up blisters, right?
I know what you're talking about. Those were definitely in that era. That's all I can say.
Okay.
I can't guarantee you which pack they're under, but those are very rare and expensive.
Then I think Yuna just picked up a bunch
Sure.
of Team Up packs at LA Collecticon. And I remember it was from a vendor where he just popped open like one of those, just like cases of the blisters that come with like one promo and I think a coin.
Yeah, I used to pick those up all the time for like, and I did the math back in the day because I had to. Like, I used to pick up a case of those, and those were like $2.50 a pack.
That's crazy, dude. When I got back into the hobby, actually, I remember going to a Party City with Eileen, and those were just on the shelves.
Yeah.
And I left some. I don't know why I did that. Because again, I was just getting back in, but like I picked those up from Party Cities.
Yeah, the
and
margins
still remember
were razor thin. The margins were razor thin. Like if you graded cards to make profit, for instance, right now it's actually super easy to do. If you grade a $30 card, that $30 card might be worth $1,000. But back in the day, I'm going to tell you right now, if you graded like a Poncho Pikachu card and it becomes a PSA 10, that card was raw, might be like $80. Graded 10 was $100.
That's crazy.
It was such a tight, narrow, like grading value.
But it would increase some because that's why people started to, like when I got back into the hobby, there wasn't that much. How many times have I said that in the last 5 minutes?
I agree.
It's the grading wasn't that popular.
Yeah.
And then really since 2020, I think graded Pokemon cards has just seen such an explosion, which is why you just see all the grading companies just doing very well.
Yeah, they're absolutely exploding. And I've done videos on this, is that I just don't understand the gap between a graded copy and a raw copy because it's so wide now. It used to not be that way because I've been around long enough that I remember this, is back in the day, 6 years ago, a raw copy was $20 and a PSA 10 was like 30 or 35. That was how close the gap used to be.
Right.
And that made sense because, most raw cards are $20. If you grade it, it costs you $15, then obviously the math should work out to being 35.
Yeah.
But now people are saying like it's so hard to get a 10 that widens the gap further and further.
Right, but that's why though. There's more people interested in grading cards, and because of the quality control of Pokemon, that increases the gap.
Yeah.
If the quality control of English Pokemon cards was better, the gap would decrease.
That brings up so many other cans of worms, which is I think the quality of control of the Pokemon company should be better. I've done whole entire videos where I just ran about how bad quality control is. I've done that before.
Well, because we complain so much as a community that like they just need to print more. They just need to print more, and they do. But then they rush to print more, and the cards are so off centered. Yeah. They're cut so poorly. It is wild. I'll open up on stream like say 15 packs from all these different sets. And I'll like bunch them all together on top of like a stack to make them nice and clean. The color of the sides of the cards are all different, and some of it's like misshapen almost.
Yeah.
And if you open like 15 packs of say One Piece or like Union Arena cards and you make a brick of them, it's like a smooth, solid, all one like it almost just looks like a single object. And it really just goes to show the difference in quality control is like night and day.
Yeah. You know what's really hilarious is when you leave your hollow rare cards out on a table overnight.
Oh yeah, they'll
and
just
the,
start to bend.
and the following morning, it's like a Pringle now
Yeah.
because of how much it's curled. I just find that hilarious too. It's like how crazy that is.
And if the quality control is bad, they can make it where it doesn't do that, because for
They just
other
choose not to.
card games, they can make it where the hollow's in it, but the card is still rigid.
Right.
You know, I don't know what the like how they need to make the card to make sure that that card like stays flat, but you know, there definitely is a way that they can do it.
Sure, I agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah.
And we're kind of preaching to the choir, which is we can say, hey, we want more supply, we want more quality control, we want just better hobby for everyone.
Right.
We all agree on that, but that doesn't occur because the Pokemon company does not need to do any of that to sell out.
Right. They can have their current state of quality control, and we're still buying every single pack off the shelves.
Yep, agreed.
Man. So it's our fault, guys.
I mean, I don't want to leave it on a bad note, so how about we give away something to the viewers?
Yes, we'll give you guys something away.
All right.
Wait, did that make sense? What did I just say?
I'm fine with it. You guys just need to know that you're about to get something.
Okay.
So the next thing that we were going to give away, do you remember what our next giveaway is? After Prismatic Evolution, do you remember what our podcast episode number 3 giveaway was?
Oh my gosh, it's so long. I think there was like a booster box of something, like a Japanese booster box.
You're good.
Super Electric Breaker.
You got it. We are
Man.
giving away a Super Electric Breaker booster box. I hope you pull yourself the Pikachu Special Illustration Rare, because I mean, that's still a possible hit because you get guaranteed one inside of a Japanese booster box.
That's right. And if you get that Alt-Art Pikachu EX, it's sick. Okay, I'm picking.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Random comment picker, guys.
All right, I love you all. Thanks for watching Card Lounge, guys.
Anything goes.
Anything goes. Wait, that was the guy's name?
No, it's just
it's saying anything.
And it's loading every single comment.
That's a weird prompt. Wow, thank you for all the comments, guys. Over 600.
Yeah, now you pick a winner, I guess.
Okay.
659 comments.
The person that's getting it is Wicked Smart 12.
I remember this comment.
Screenshot that.
Yeah, I'm going to screenshot this. I remember this comment from you, Wicked Smart.
Really?
They said, so stoked to have both of you behind the mics together.
Hey, well, that's a Wicked Smart comment.
Thank you, guys. All right, you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, see you guys on the next one.